What's up, everybody? It's 8 o'clock. It's time for the journal challenge, and today is day number 30. And we are going to talk about character today. Today, we are talking about character. So, welcome to this evening's journey through self discovery. And I hope that you have been enjoying our time this month. We are pretty much almost wrapping it up now. So I thought that we really need to talk about character. I have went over all the things that we had discussed, and I realized that, hey, this is something important and we really need to revisit this, okay? Or I've mentioned character throughout the month, but we need to make it a topic of the day. So, hey, Kathy. Hey, Lori. But first, as you know, we always do the self-inventory thing. We check in to make sure that we have made choices that are in alignment with our best selves, and making sure that we have our boundaries set up throughout the day, and that we are living in purpose and on purpose, okay? And that we are participating in our life. All of that good stuff that we've been talking about over this last month. And so when we think about character is just who you are. That's just the easiest way to define that. It's who you are. Not only that, it is basically a sum of your attributes. It's a sum of the aspects of you. And a lot of times we think about character and integrity. And integrity is basically when you make a good choice for a good reason, and it's being a good person, so to speak, being righteous and honorable when no one is watching. That's what integrity is, and they go hand in hand. And so when we think about our character, we have to think about, who am I when no one is watching? Who am I when no one is watching? When I'm all alone and by myself, that is who I am, okay? We also want to look at some of the wounds that we have, okay? And what we send out to people as our representatives, okay? What do other people think and say about us? You know, it's how we show up in the world. And I just believe that, you know, who you are is just who you are. And unless you are willing to do the work to make some adjustments in your character and in your life, then you're going to start to lose out on life as far as the relationships that you have, and the way you experience life, and the way you walk through the world, okay? And a lot of times behind our wounds, behind we have like character defects and character, we're going to call them assets. And so behind that is always something beautiful. Everything that you need in your life to be amazing is already inside of you. But it's the wounds that we have that have kept us from being, amazing and being who we truly are. That is a lot of times when we send our representatives, so to speak, we've talked about that. It's because we're hurting. And when we have wounds, we don't want people to touch us there. Those are places that hurt. And so those wounds cover up the things about us that are great and amazing, and help us to live a fulfilled life. And so just maybe think about a person that you misjudged, and you thought something negative about them at first. And you got to know them, and you thought, wow, like, you are really cool. I really like you. I really vibe with you. And beforehand, I thought you were this blah, blah, blah kind of person, because maybe they had up a guard, Or it could be the other, you could be on the other end of that, where someone misjudged you or misunderstood you because of something that you have up. The mask that we wear, or let's just call them our coping mechanism and our defense mechanisms, those are just bodyguards to the wounds that we have. And so think about the way you cope with things. And there are so many ways that we cope. It could be shopping, eating, sex, drugs, alcohol, you know, anything that we do to escape, you know, sleeping, whatever it is that you do to cope, you know, that's unhealthy. I'm talking about unhealthy ways to cope, okay? When you do that, it's just a bodyguard to a wound that you have. Or we can look at not only our coping mechanisms, but our defense mechanisms as well. And your defense mechanisms could be lying, it could be arguing, procrastination is a defense mechanism. Anything that you do, you know, or also wearing a mask, okay? Those are our bodyguards to our wounds. So we have Mr. Coping mechanism bodyguard, whatever your coping mechanism is, and you have Miss or Mrs. defense mechanism, whatever that is, and they are guarding the wounds that we have because we don't want to be touched there because it hurts. But behind those wounds are beautiful things about our character. And so when we look at our character today, that is what I want you to look at. So question number 1 for today. Oh, thank you, Lori. These are the earrings I was telling you about. I'm going to put a link to the person who created these beautiful earrings in the description so she can get some credit for that. But when we think about our question for today, what I want you to think about is this, okay? What type of wounds do I have, and what are my bodyguards? Remember when I told you the bodyguards are character defects and, coping mechanisms and defense mechanisms, okay? Those are the bodyguards to our wounds, which leads to our character defects, but our wounds are hiding what's amazing and wonderful about us, okay? So I want you to think about that. Think about, what do you do to cope? What do you do for your defense mechanisms? And what wounds do you have? Okay, because what we're trying to get to is who we really are. How are we showing up? We talked about that when we talked about intention, I think that was maybe day 3 or 4, we talked about intention. So that's what I want you all to look at today when you think about your character. Also, I want you to think about, moving kind of to question number 2, is who is it or how is it that you think you show up? If you had to talk about your character, what would you say about yourself? You know, the thing is, we show up differently to other people sometimes, and we kind of need to do some inventory within ourselves. But when we do inventory in our tribe, we have to listen to what they say, okay? Not because we are letting people judge us, but I'm talking about when we talk about our tribe. Remember I told you when we talked about community that you need to cultivate and nurture a good tribe, okay? People who you trust and who will tell you the truth in love. And that way you can get an understanding of your character and what it is that you really want to cultivate within yourself. One thing about our character is that a lot of times who we are, like our code of, let's just call it our code of conduct, has been shaped by our culture, our geographical location, our upbringing, and we have these codes that we live by, and we need to look at, are they really in alignment with who I want to be? So you have to know, what is my code? You know, what is my code of conduct for certain things? And that's when you can start to figure out if you are in alignment. When you know what your own code is, you might have a spiritual code of conduct. You know, it's just basically how you live. What do you live by? And you will know when you do that, and you really know what your code is for your character. You will know when you're off code, and that way you can say, without having bad self-talk, you know, I was off code today. So just be very mindful of who you are, not your representative. I'm talking about who you are when no one is watching. That is the true and real you. And as I say that, if that doesn't make you, if you have any shame around that, as I say that, that is okay. You know, make an adjustment there. If you feel like the person who you really are is not who you show to the world, then that just lets you know you have some work to do. Remember I told you when we think about fear, fear is just pointing us to something that we need to learn, a lesson. So don't be ashamed and don't be scared of that. Just look in so that you can have an understanding. I need to do some work right there. Okay? And so that's going to bring us to our affirmation for today. And our affirmation today is, I cultivate good character within myself. I show up to the world authentically. I cultivate good character in myself. I show up to the world authentically. Now notice this. Good for you. You can put any word in there actually that you want, but it's all about perception. What you feel that is. You know, I can't tell you what good character is. Hey, Melissa. Lori, Melissa's the one who made these earrings. She likes the earrings, Melissa. But thank you. You have to know, I can't tell you, the topic today is not to tell you what good character is. It's for you to look in within yourself, because again, like I said, our character is shaped really by our culture, our geographical location, and our upbringing. What I want you to do is look in and see how you show up to the world. Is that in alignment with who you really want to be? That is what it is today. We are just evaluating ourselves, because we're not in the area of judgment. We're just, remember we talked about accountability. We have to be accountable for who we are and how we show up. And if you're okay with the way you show up, then by all means, that's great. You know, you might be in a really good place. But what happens is, as we continue to grow and develop, there are some things that have to shed. You know, things have to die in order for things to grow. It's just a cycle of life. You know, we know that we have people transition out of here. And at the same time that someone's transitioning out of here, someone is being birthed here. Okay, so that is what I want you to think about today. Your character, the way you show up. Is it in alignment with who you want to be? We talked about so much over the last 30 days. And so at this point, there should be some things that kind of touched you. I'm sure that I have said something in 30 days that maybe have touched a wound. And that's okay, because that is how we grow. Remember, behind that wound is something that is great and amazing. Everything that you need is already within you. The aspects of your character, the ones that are defects and the ones that are assets, they're all there. But you have to set aside those defects in order for your character assets to shine big and bright. Okay? Kind of like this super blue blood moon lunar eclipse that we have going on. So this is really good. Take advantage of all this good energy, okay, to really look within yourself and make some healthy changes. I will see you on tomorrow at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Tomorrow will be the last day of our Journey Through Self-Discovery, our journal challenge. But I'm not leaving you. It's just the last day for this. I have something different and new coming up for you in February. And so what we're going to do tomorrow, we're just going to kind of do like a recap of the last 30 days, the whole month. We're going to touch on everything, you know, that we've talked about. And I just want you to know that I have so much gratitude for you. I really, really do. I was telling a friend earlier that I'll go back and listen to the videos, and they help me, because it's always, it's a blessing really to be able to pour into others and give advice to others. But it's always hard, you know, to take your own advice or to tell yourself that. And so it's been a blessing, because I can go back and listen, and it might apply to something that I am actually dealing with. And so I give thanks for that, and I give thanks for you. So I will see you tomorrow at 8 p.m. And thanks everybody for listening this evening. Good night.